Well, good morning from Cottage Farmstead. I'm Rebecca and this is my husband Nathan, and we're here at our farmhouse build, finally, at least for me, to return. So it's been a full last 2 weeks, but not of the good things. So we had just moved out of our old cottage. We moved into with my parents temporarily while we finished this house, and we both caught COVID. So I was much sicker than Nathan, so I was laid up in bed for about a week and a half and just hadn't felt well enough to come and work over here for a while. That's why you haven't seen me in a few weeks on camera. And then Nathan, doing a lot of extra work, injured his wrist. So he's been moving a little bit slower on projects around here as well.
So because of this, we're going to be calling in some reinforcements today. Thankfully, her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Kilby, are able to help us with their expertise of electrical work and hopefully get us back on track after losing a couple of weeks of time. As our goal, if all possible, is to get our rough-in inspection by the end of this month. So it'll be a lot of hard work, but we're ready to work hard now that we're feeling mostly better, except for the repetitive stress injury. And we'll hopefully get some great progress done today.
So we're hoping to pull a lot of the wire since it's helpful to have more people around. So we're hoping to fish a lot of wire through the walls and drill holes and pull it all over the place. And then maybe start getting some of the outlets prepared for the rough-in inspection. So it's called safe mode, I think is what my dad called it. So we're going to be working on that.
And one other detail, since Rebecca hasn't been here in about, I think, 3 weeks, we've, Mr. Kilby and I have been able to get some work done, but need her finalized...
I need my opinion.
Yes, she is the end-all be-all for locations. So make sure that the locations are properly set. I think we'll need to figure out where our cabinetry are going to be. That way we can figure out where our floating countertop will be for the bar area. That way we can put that pendant light in, finalize the location of the light fixtures on the front porch, and hopefully make some great progress while having lots of fun.
So let's get to it. Can you see it, Nathan?
This hole, through that hole, over through here, and around through there, and down to this box. And then you come up, over, and up to that box. And then you go up, over to that box. Got it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Have at it. Three-way circuits, way overcomplicated when it's really very simple.
I guess we can just...
This is your 3-conductor wire. You have a red, a black, a white. On one end, you'll have a switch. On the other end, you will have a switch. You'll always run the 3-conductor wire from switch box to switch box. Does not have to go to the light fixture or any other place. Just from switch box to switch box. On one end, you will have the black, which is the hot wire, going to one leg of the 3-way switch. On the other end, you will have the black going to the light. You take these two and connect to the other two terminals on the three-way switch. So you have power coming into one side, switch that will switch from one side to the other, and over here you have a switch that switches from one side to the other. And so at any point in time, this will switch hot, and depending on where this one is, it will switch it to the load. That's all there is to it. Hey Laura, what you doing?
Holding wire.
Nathan,
Yes, sir.
what you doing?
Poking a hole in the electrical box.
Another circuit complete.
So for outside on our porches, for code you have to have conduit covering your wire, and I didn't want the standard gray with all the letters that are typed all over it. I wanted this house to look like it's been here a little bit longer. So we decided to spray paint them black just to help them blend in, because we're planning on staining the wood under here a darker tone, so we thought that would help blend in a little bit more. And then we're planning on having hanging lantern style lights out here on our front porch, so it'll look nice and vintage. Alright, so one of the things that was kind of holding them back is they needed my opinion on where I wanted certain things. So first off, in our dining room here, they're wanting to know where I wanted the table. Did I want the table centered in the window, centered in the room, what direction? It's a rectangular table. Do I want it this way or this way? So one of the things that we did yesterday was we marked out on the floor where I would generally like the table to be, and our table's 3 by 5 currently, so we marked it out on the floor. The other thing we're keeping in mind is we have a doorway right here and right here, so I wanted to be able to walk in and not trip over chairs that are tucked in under the table. So I wanted to make sure it was scooted close enough that way that the chairs wouldn't be in the way when you're walking in through here. We're going to have a door here as well, so I didn't want to be bumping the table. So after we figured all that out, we had to figure out what we're going to do up here. As you can see, there's about 16-inch spacing between all these. We had to figure out where the closest point would be to center over the table while up there. So we measured that as well, and thankfully it also mostly centered on the window, so it worked out perfectly here in the dining room. So in the living room it was very similar. We want to have a central ceiling fan light combo over in this area. So we were measuring where do we generally want the living room area to be in this big open area. And we've determined that we wanted the back of the couch to be on this piece of tape here on the floor, so that way we have clearance for one of our French doors at all times, and then this one we can still have clearance to open and shut if our couch is sitting about here. Then we measured the square area of the room and found center, which was right here, and that's where we put a light. Conveniently here, the joists lined up perfectly to have it centered in the room. And the one that was much more complicated was the kitchen, because we were still trying to figure out where we wanted different pieces of cabinetry. So we bought antique cabinetry from someone up in North Carolina, and we're going to have to deconstruct it and reconstruct it in a different order. So it took some time figuring out where we wanted the drawer front, where we were going to put the dishwasher, will the sink fit where we want it to fit, will the stove fit where we want it to fit, what are we going to do with the dead space in the corner. So we marked out on the floor with chalk where the counter line is going to go, and then we measured and we put different things in different places. So once we had that, we put the light over the sink area because I wanted to be able to look out the window and also have light in the evenings. And we were trying to figure out where we wanted the placement of the gooseneck light, because that determines where they're going to put the electrical. So we put up the light fixture temporarily just to get an idea of where I wanted that to be. The other important light fixture in here was going to be over our island. We're going to have a freestanding one that we can move around, but I wanted to have a light generally over where it's going to be most of the time. So we had to figure out the dimensions. We're going to build this island ourselves. So we need to figure out the approximate dimensions that was going to fit in this space so that we could build the island custom sized. We also need to figure out where I wanted that light overhead. So we were able to triangulate, find center, and get the pendant light to go over the island right there. Well, that was a long day's work, and we're pretty wore out from all of it, but we are happy to have all of this wire in place. It was a lot of work, but we're definitely one step closer to the rough-in inspection. What do we have left on the electrical?
We had to strip out all of the switches. We have 2 lights to put in where our carport is going to be. Finalize the location of the flood lights on that side of the house. Other than that, I think it's just a bonus room, a little bit in the basement, and we're going to be there. We're going to be ready.
Real close on the rough-in. We are hoping the plumber can come and do some finalized. A couple locations need to move. Some of the vents didn't get into the wall where we wanted them in the wall, things like that, the minor things.
One other thing I forgot that we had to do yet is pulling the home runs. So basically the home run is we wire each individual room and figure out what wire we're going to pull from for power going back to the electrical box. So that's called the home run, to take back there. That way the power comes from there to that individual circuit. So that shouldn't take too long. Should be a lot of fun. Thankfully we have floor trusses, so we have plenty of space. We don't have to worry about knockouts at all. So we'll be ready to rock and roll hopefully early next week.
Well, we'll catch you next time. We definitely have a couple more things before rough-in. We do need to put in a chimney pipe for our wood stove, and neither of us have done that before, so we're going to be researching how to do that properly and get it up to code. So we'll catch you next time.
Lights, camera, action!